Ladies and gentlemen, in an era where power, economy, and strategy dominate headlines, it is easy to forget the fundamental values that shape societies: respect and kindness. Recently, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, made a statement that resonated far beyond borders. His words were simple, yet profound. Respect and kindness are not weaknesses, they are the true strength of nations. This statement surprised many in the United States and across the world because it came at a time when international relations are often seen only through the lens of power politics. Now, what Dr. Jaishankar reminded us is that diplomacy is not just about hard negotiations, but about humanity, dignity, and moral clarity. India's rise is not only about becoming an economic powerhouse or a strategic partner. It is about upholding values that connect people universally. Respect for others and kindness in dealing with differences are the principles that sustain peace, strengthen cooperation, and create bridges between diverse cultures. When a leader speaks of respect, it means acknowledging the sovereignty, traditions, and aspirations of others. When he emphasizes kindness, it signals that progress must be compassionate, inclusive, and mindful of human dignity. This is why his words captured American attention, because they challenged the world to rethink what true power looks like. Dr. Jaishankar's emphasis on respect goes far beyond mere politeness. It touches the very foundation of international relations. He reminded the world that respect is not something granted only to powerful nations. It is the birthright of every country, whether large or small, rich or poor. Too often in global politics, smaller nations feel ignored, overshadowed, or pressured by the dominance of bigger powers. Jaishankar's words were a strong reminder that diplomacy cannot thrive in an environment where arrogance and superiority prevail. Respect means listening to the voice of every nation, acknowledging their history, culture, and aspirations. It means treating them as equal stakeholders rather than as instruments in a larger geopolitical game. Without respect, agreements are fragile, partnerships are shallow, and trust is easily broken. But when nations respect each other's sovereignty and unique identity, dialogue becomes genuine and cooperation becomes lasting. By highlighting respect, Jaishankar reinforced that India's foreign policy is not transactional but rooted in fairness and dignity. His words were especially significant for Americans because they challenged the traditional mindset of global hierarchy, urging the world to move toward equality in relationships, not dominance. Not dominance. One of the most striking parts of Dr. Jaishankar's statement was his insistence that kindness should never be mistaken for weakness. In the traditional world of geopolitics, kindness is often sidelined as an emotional or secondary trait, something personal, not political. But Jaishankar reversed this perspective by declaring that kindness is a true sign of confidence and inner strength. A nation that is insecure relies only on power, intimidation, and coercion. A nation that is strong, however, has the courage to be compassionate even when it has the upper hand. Kindness in diplomacy means extending support to nations in need, showing empathy toward humanitarian crises, and building relationships based on mutual benefit rather than exploitation. It does not mean compromising on national interest, but it does mean approaching global challenges with a human touch. By equating kindness with strength, Jaishankar sent a subtle but powerful message that leadership in the 21st century will not only be measured by economic might or military capacity, but by how nations treat each other with empathy and fairness. This statement resonated deeply with many Americans as it contrasted sharply with the often transactional tone of international politics. Dr. Jaishankar reminded the world that the true test of leadership lies not in how much power a nation can wield, but in how it uses that power to uphold universal human values. Too often, global politics gets reduced to competition for dominance, economic rivalries, military buildups, or strategic alliances designed to corner others. But when the pursuit of power becomes the only guiding force, the human element is lost and diplomacy risks turning into cold calculations. By emphasizing values such as empathy, fairness, and humanity, Jaishankar challenged this prevailing mindset. He urged the international community to remember that behind every policy, every deal, and every negotiation, there are people, individuals whose lives are shaped by these decisions. A truly great nation, he suggested, does not measure its success by how much it can impose, but by how much good it can contribute. Placing human values above power politics means choosing dialogue over coercion, compassion over confrontation, and justice over exploitation. This vision of diplomacy carries a moral clarity that many found refreshing, especially in America, where foreign policy debates often revolve around national interest and security. Jaishankar's words, therefore, were a call to recalibrate global politics, to balance power with principles, and to redefine leadership in terms of humanity rather than dominance. Dr. Jaishankar emphasized that India's voice on respect and kindness is not just theoretical, it is rooted in centuries of history, philosophy, and lived experience. India has always been a land of diverse cultures, languages, and religions coexisting within one civilizational framework. This coexistence did not come from force, but from mutual respect and acceptance. From ancient traditions like Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the idea that the world is one family, to the modern constitution that enshrines equality and justice, India has consistently promoted values of tolerance, inclusion, and compassion. In the context of diplomacy, Jaishankar highlighted that India does not seek to dominate, but to partner, not to impose, but to collaborate. Whether it is through humanitarian aid, peacekeeping missions, or partnerships with developing nations, India has shown that growth and kindness can go hand in hand. This example challenges the global narrative that rising powers must always adopt aggressive postures. For Americans listening, this message was profound. It suggested that India's rise on the global stage will not mirror the path of previous superpowers, but instead offer a new model, one where respect and kindness are as important as strategy and strength. By presenting India as an example of values-based leadership, Jaishankar subtly redefined what it means to be a global power in today's world. Dr. Jaishankar's statement carried even greater weight because he linked respect and kindness directly to the challenges the world faces today. In an interconnected era, no nation can solve problems in isolation. Issues like climate change, pandemics, economic inequality, terrorism, and humanitarian crises demand collective action. Yet cooperation becomes nearly impossible when nations approach these challenges with arrogance or disregard for others. Respect ensures that every country's concerns are heard, while kindness ensures that solutions are inclusive and compassionate. For example, in tackling climate change, wealthier nations must respect the developmental needs of poorer countries, while showing kindness through technology transfers and financial support. In humanitarian crises, kindness is reflected in offering shelter, aid, and dignity to those displaced by war or disaster. Even in trade negotiations, respect and fairness build trust that lasts longer than any short-term advantage. Jaishankar's reminder was clear. Without these values, global solutions remain temporary and fragile. With them, however, the world can find unity even amid diversity,